All right, guys, what is going on in this election? Kamala Harris takes the lead in the final weekend. What? Wait till you get a load of this. Kamala Harris now leading in Iowa. What the bejesus? Okay, so I want to break down all the polls for you guys, and I'm going to tell you the two key demographics that are helping Kamala Harris take the lead here, maybe win the election. This is stunning. I really can't believe it. So I want to tell you all about it. First of all, remember, guys, uh, not only do we have the live show every day at 6 o'clock Eastern, and you should be checking that out because stuff like this happens all of a sudden. Like we're about to go on air, something breaks, and it's just amazing and exciting and dramatic. And let alone on election day. Oh my God, do not miss the Young Turks on election day. First of all, we're not going to do like, oh, hey, we want this person to win, so we're going to pretend they're winning. No, we're going to give you actual facts so you know exactly who's winning, whether we like it or not. And in this case, it might turn out that we do like it. And so it's going to be super exciting. We're starting at noon. And you could catch all of it at tyt.com. It'll just be on the main page at tyt.com. We'll also have polling results, exit polling, the latest in news that day, all of it underneath the video too. So make sure you're going to tyt.com on election day, starting at noon Eastern and all the way through well over 12 hours that day. Okay, so let me break it down for you guys. New poll out from a really reliable pollster that has nailed it within 1 to 2 points in most of the elections in recent history in Iowa. And she now leads by 3 points. That is unreal. But that's not the good news. That's because still I literally can't believe she's going to win Iowa, and she might not, right? But the underlying numbers is where the really great news is, because she's delivering on two demographics that she absolutely needs, and she's crushing in them. And this is the thing that I told you would be the key to Kamala Harris's victory if she wins, right? And so, but it's not surprising. You'll see in a second. But first, let me read you a bunch of polls that came out Friday to now. So just in the last 24 to 48 hours. And only a couple lean towards Trump, but with a couple of them with giant caveats and the others not with a caveat. So, and then I'll tell you the underlying numbers, which is the most important. By the way, guys, I'll try to do member shout outs. Thank you guys, for all of you that watch, for supporting honest news and coverage so you get actual news. And so when we criticize Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or whatever, and then I tell you Kamala Harris is winning, you could trust that Kamala Harris appears to be winning now. We're giving you the actual results. We criticize Trump, but we also say when he does well, etc. So you can rely on us. We're not trying to skew anything, and I point that out because it's incredible to me how much everyone else is skewing the results to what they want. So you've seen me be down about Kamala Harris's chances. Now let me show you why today it looks great. So the numbers have changed throughout this election. It has been the most surprising, most unpredictable election of my lifetime. It's amazing how much they keep changing back and forth, back and forth. But you know where you want to be? You want to be up at the very end. And so here we are. So let's go through these first thing. And final NPR Marist poll, very reliable. They have Harris winning at 270, barely winning. They still have Nevada and Georgia as toss-ups. But even if Trump wins those, Harris still gets 270. So that poll, good poll, Kamala Harris barely winning in that one. Okay. Then we go to the next poll. Hold on. I'm going to come back to Iowa in a minute. I'm going to come back to Frank Luntz in a minute because he wasn't going in favor of Trump. But now he says, hold. Okay. So let me give you the BS polls first. And the reason why I say this, guys, I'm not saying, oh, they're right wing, so they're bad. Like one of the best polling organizations historically was a progressive group, whether you agree with politics or not, when you their politics or not, you look at how they matched up with actual results, and they were the most. So it's not right or left. That doesn't matter. Accuracy matters. And these polls have not been accurate in the past. They seem to be leaning almost on purpose towards the Republicans. they have this like some in the right wing have this mindset of, oh, the polls are just marketing. So if they're just marketing, let's just lie about them and then say that we're winning. You didn't have to lie about them for most of the election because Trump was winning most of the election. So, but these polls constantly lean Trump, and they don't necessarily they have not been very accurate. But nevertheless, I'm going to share all of it with you guys. Atlantis Intel has Trump winning Arizona easily, North Carolina easily, Nevada easily, etc., and has Trump winning overall 312 to 226. In fact, they have him winning all of the swing states. So another one that's not very reliable is Trafalgar Insider. That's also leans Republican and inaccurately so in the past. Doesn't mean they're inaccurate this time. 306, 232 Trump. They have him winning all the swing states except Nevada, which is surprising because there was bad numbers coming out of Nevada in early voting for Kamala Harris. So as I keep telling you guys, they all of these like she's got bad numbers in Nevada and North Carolina, seemingly in early voting, but then you're getting these latest polls outside of the two I just read you, leading heavily Kamala Harris. So now YouGov and the Times poll, Harris 276, Trump 251. They have her holding the blue wall and winning Nevada by one. Is that really? I don't know. I don't know what to believe, right? But they have her winning Wisconsin by 4, Michigan by 3, Pennsylvania by 3. That's the blue wall. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is the most important. As I've said, look, this election could be super close, or if Trump wins Pennsylvania, it could be over in an hour. And that is still eminently possible. Both sides, please remember 2016. Ironically, here the Trump side might be pulling the Hillary Clinton overconfident, like, oh, we got this. Look, brother, even if you were at 51%, 52% likelihood of winning, which is, or even up to 55% likelihood of winning, which is where that range is where I've had him now for the last 6 weeks or so, right? And but remember, Hillary Clinton, in even our estimation, not the New York Times, not Huffington Post, not the guys who had it at 92, 98. No, at TYT on election day, we thought it was about 65-35 Hillary Clinton, right? Based on the polling and the numbers that we were seeing, the trends, everything else, right? But we said right at the beginning, 35% means that could definitely happen, right? It happens 35% of the time. So if Trump really had a 55% lead, well, he could lose 45% of the time. It's just those numbers are worse than Hillary's numbers were in 2016. So, and just because you're seeing great numbers here for Harris at the end doesn't mean Harris is going to win. So please, like, don't get overly hopeful. Don't get despondent. And by the way, whichever side you're on, well, in an election this close, you're crazy not to vote. So definitely go vote. And then buy our vote t-shirts on shoptyt.com. Got a great collaboration, collabo as the kids call it, with Oaklandish. All of a sudden, we're cool. Okay, so we'll put the link to shoptyt.com, or that's easy to remember. Anyways, in the description box, that's where the links always are. And by the way, speaking of links, polymarket.com is one of our sponsors. I just checked them because I don't want to just give you polls. I want to give you betting markets. All of a sudden, the betting markets are moving. Trump, I believe, was in the 60s. Now he's down to 55. People are seeing these new polls, and all of a sudden, the betting's going in the other direction. Interesting. All of a sudden, interesting. Okay. So now let's go to CNN SSRS poll. Harris 278, holding the blue. No, tied in Pennsylvania, but in their poll, see, this is so crazy. She's winning Wisconsin and Michigan and Arizona and North Carolina, but not necessarily Pennsylvania. That would be really surprising, but maybe. So 278, 241 for Harris. And then we've got the last two. Oh, NPR Maris, I told you that was a big one coming in saying with a couple of states tied, Harris still wins. And then Nate's the only legitimate guy, in my opinion, that has solid, track record. Nate Silver, obviously. He's got her with winning Michigan and Wisconsin, and Trump winning North Carolina, Nevada, and Georgia. But importantly and decisively in that case, he has Trump winning Pennsylvania. So Nate has said too close to call. Harry Enton says too close to call. Frank Luntz says too close to call. Frank Luntz is the main Republican pollster. I'm going to get back to him in a second. And for whatever it's worth, I say too close to call. And I love calling elections and I love calling them early. But I've been telling you now the entire election season, I don't know. I don't know because the numbers are too unpredictable. So this I'll do Luntz, and I'll get to Iowa and the underlying numbers that are so important here. So Luntz says, um, he's the Harris numbers are starting to catch up, and he goes back to even more uncertain. He's still intuition, still leaning Trump. So kind of almost exactly where Nate Silver is, very close to where I was, almost exactly where I was. But now we're all going, maybe not, given the last polls. Why are the last polls more important? Because they're last. So that means more people are making up their mind. They're more likely to vote in that direction. The election is not later; it's now. Early voting has started in a great majority of the states. Um, so that's why those are more important. But they're not perfectly determinative because an average of polls still makes a difference. So for Frank Luntz, he said on air last night, he's like, but there's one thing if you're a Trump person that should give you pause, which is young women, if they come out in big droves, which they might, they are unlikely voters, not factored into the polling as much, and could make a big difference for Kamala Harris. Now, I'm finally going to get to Iowa, where you're going to see, yeah, but there's two other sets of women that might make a huge difference. And one, to me, throughout the election has been surprising. First, quick shout outs here. The anti-corporatist, thank you for being a member. Really appreciate you and saying Kamala's fumbling the bag. Well, look, guys, as I've been telling you all along, I think both sides have been trying to lose. I think that there's a good chance that Donald Trump here might have blown it at the end because they just couldn't stop the hate. I told you they keep juggling hand grenades. They're going to drop a couple, and they did. Oh, Puerto Rico's garbage. Oh no, women, I'm going to quote unquote protect you whether you like it or not. Oh no, there goes another one. It's not like Biden didn't drop it with the garbage comment, and Kamala Harris has had a whole host of issues. I think both sides have not run a good campaign at all. There were some things that they did well here and there, and we gave them credit for that, but neither one closed strong. But as it turns out, if these numbers are right, Kamala is picking up those undecided voters anyway. Disco Stu, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Look, guys, members make this show possible. And by the way, thank you to all of our members for allowing us to be the most honest show online. Some folks say, no, I don't want it. I want just partisan. Just tell me my side is great and the other side is 100% evil, 100% wrong, 100% going to lose, etc. We don't play that game. And the reason we don't play that game is because we have smart, open-minded, open-hearted members who say, no, give us the truth. We're adults. We're grown-ups. We can handle this. So thank you to all the members. Hit the join button below to become one of them. And if you want to support TYT, tyt.com/2024. Love you guys. Okay, so finally, Iowa. She was losing by 4 in this last poll that they did. This is the, Mo does things. Thank you for Cenk 2024. Little too late for that, but I was wearing my Cenk for America shirt the other day. Still alive, says Michael Moore. And Michael Moore's been saying this all along, that it's going to be a blue tsunami because of women. Maybe he was right all along. I was skeptical when he said that because that's not what the numbers were showing at the time. But so finally, she was down by 4 in Iowa in this very reputable poll. She's now up by 3. But get a load of this, guys. Biden, in that same poll earlier in this election when he was the candidate, you know how much he was losing to Trump by? 18. That's part of why they forgot about Iowa, because the Democrats were losing by 18. So look, guys, we've been through this many, many times. It's not just me. That would be absurd. I was a tiny part of it. But to all the people who didn't believe that Joe Biden was old, who thought Joe Biden was a great candidate and believed the liars at MSNBC and mainstream media and all those propagandists who told you, oh, Joe Biden's great. Don't change him. Don't change him. We're pals with him. We go to dinner and lunch with him all the time. Don't worry. He's fantastic. He's the best candidate we have. He was down by 18 and she's winning by 3. That is a massive 21-point difference. It's not about I told you so, although I'm happy to do that. It's about, guys, when someone is trying to help you and gives you information, even if it's painful, please take it, because they're not trying to hurt you with it. And when I did it, and Charlemagne and Jon Stewart and Nate Silver and James Carville and David Axelrod, when we all said, get Biden out, don't do it. Are you crazy? He's definitely going to lose. We weren't trying to hurt the Democratic Party. We were trying to help the Democratic Party. And look at this gigantic 21-point difference between Biden and Kamala Harris. So the underlying numbers, two groups delivering for her by 2-1 margins, giant wins. Independent women. Independents are now finally coming in, and as they're coming in and likely to decide the election, not only are they breaking for her significantly in ways that folks didn't expect this size, at least in the last set of polls, but particularly independent women are going, nah, we're going Kamala Harris, 2-1 margin. So for women, her having a big lead is not abnormal. That's very expected, right? That's not surprising. But independents are different than the average, right? And independents, in a sense, are like more important because they're probably going to decide the election. So the fact that she's winning independent women with a giant margin is great news, right? If you're on, if you want Kamala Harris to win. And so, and then the second group that's coming in, I think, is even more important. Senior women, 2-1 margin. Now, guys, this is what's so important, because it isn't just about Iowa. It's about, like, Iowa's not a swing state at this point. Obama won it, but Trump won it easily the last two times. It's not one of the 7 swing states. Nobody's been talking about Iowa. The fact that all of a sudden she took a lead there is amazing. But remember, guys, there was a poll out fairly within the last week where they said Trump took the lead in New Hampshire. How is Trump winning New Hampshire and Kamala Harris is winning Iowa? And guys, nobody rigs polls to have two different people take surprising leads in states you didn't expect. So the polls might not be right, but they're not, outside of the right-leaning ones that are almost always inaccurate, are not rigged. And those guys, they're not. Anyway, I don't want to get into their methodology. It's not important. If senior women come in that strongly in the swing states, nah. So, but now Frank Luntz says young women, senior women coming in huge for Kamala Harris in this poll in Iowa, and we're seeing it in some of the early results. Independent women. So what are we hearing? Women. And it's true. And there's an excellent chance that women come in here at the end and go, yeah, not this time. Not on my watch. And number one, Kamala Harris would be the first female president. Of course, that's important and relevant, right? And if you're a guy who says, I don't think it should be relevant, okay, that's fine. But a lot of women think it should be relevant. So then it is relevant. Certainly relevant to how the polling comes out, how the voting comes out at the end. But I think more importantly, a lot of women are going, nah, not that guy. Not that guy. Not him again, and not him beating another female candidate. And so he did it again today. He's so dumb. That's why he's his worst and his own worst enemy. So today he doubled down on, I protect women strongly. I don't care if they don't want it. I'm saying, I don't know whether it's a rough statement. I don't care what women want is the very worst thing you could say while people are early voting and 3 days before that election day. How do you not understand that? And in fact, what's hilarious is he says, my advisor says that I shouldn't say it. Yeah, there's a good reason why they say that, because they're smart and you're dumb. And he's like, well, I'm going to say it anyway. I don't care what women want. Oh, you idiot, right? So if you're a Trump fan, you should be 10,000 times more livid at him for saying such unbelievably counterproductive things. So now the other thing that is surprising me, at least, and certainly surprises pollsters at the direction that it's going, and changes the dynamic of the race, because I'm looking at it from, I see that Democrats have the unlikely voters coming out in 22 and 23. I see Trump normally has the unlikely voters coming out 26, 2020, not for his other candidates that he endorses, but for him because of cult of personality, etc. and he's more I think he's a fake populist, but he's at least pretending to be a populist, anti-establishment, etc. So then you're kind of at a time, but that assumes that the Republicans hold seniors, which they normally do. And remember, senior citizens, that means 65 and above, are the most likely to vote. That demographic votes like crazy. So in Iowa, I think she's winning senior citizens, period. Whoa. Okay, so if it's flipped and that holds in other swing states and she wins senior citizens, no, 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 no. Now, again, guys, I'm saying if, okay? And so why are seniors headed over to Harris, which is surprising everyone? And by the way, God, it's the most topsy-turvy election of all time because she's barely winning the young vote. Normally, Democrats crushing the young vote, but she's barely winning it. So but for senior citizens, the reason she's winning is democracy. They're like, no, this guy makes me uncomfortable. I'm not going to lose democracy on my watch. So the two giant issues are democracy and abortion, and they should be. Trump overturned Roe, and my whole life Republicans have been telling me, "Oh, this country so pro-life, so pro-life." How'd that work out for you? I told you all along, 7 out of 10, and that's been true for so long. 7 out of 10 Americans are pro-choice. This country is massively pro-choice. 79-year-old woman in Iowa talking to the pollsters said, look, man, she said, I'm pro-life, and I know this is contradictory, and this often happens with more conservative voters. She says, I'm pro-life, but that's my decision. And I'm not going to tell other women what to do with their bodies. They should leave our bodies alone. First of all, she's actually pro-choice. She just doesn't know it. She doesn't know the right label, but it's okay. It's okay. She's like, so I'm voting against Trump. I'm voting for Kamala Harris. And on democracy, again, the Trump guys don't believe it. They say, no way, he didn't cheat. He didn't try to steal the election. There wasn't a riot. It was a bunch of tourists plus Antifa. And we heard of them chanting, hang Mike Pence, but it was no big deal. He wrote, we should terminate the Constitution, but I don't believe it, or he's joking, etc. But for a lot of people, they heard it, they believed it, they saw it with their own eyes as people entered the Capitol, and they're like, nah, but this guy doesn't believe in democracy, and I'm not going to vote for him. Yes. So, look, guys, as anybody who watches Young Turks knows, I got 1,000 problems with the Democratic Party, okay? And we're going to talk about that after the election, whether they win or they lose, and we got to change the tenor of this party. And what happens in the next 4 years, even if Kamala Harris wins, is an amazing question, a really interesting question, and we'll tackle that every day. You know, weekdays, 6 o'clock Eastern. Everybody come watch at 6 o'clock Eastern. By the way, we also do live polls, so only the people watching live get to vote on that poll, and I love the results, and I want to see you guys get involved so that we have a better sampling. And I read your comments when we're live, and especially if you're a member. So hit the join button below if you can, and Tyler Petre, thank you for gifting 10 Young Turks memberships. Sorry I couldn't do all the super chats like I would normally do in our live show because I read them during the breaks, but I appreciate everybody who wrote in a super chat. So look, guys, as much as I have those problems with the Democratic Party, Trump did use fake electors to try to steal an election. Totally, utterly unacceptable. He did write, we should terminate all articles, rules, and regulations in the Constitution because he claimed there was massive fraud. No, you saying there's fraud does not justify terminating the Constitution. Unstable, unacceptable, and so if he loses, I'll be thrilled. But that doesn't mean the fight is over. Overall, we still have to do a populist revolt so that they represent the average man and not their donors 24/7. So, but let's, as I've said from day one, we live to fight another day if Kamala Harris wins. Live to fight another day. But we can't fight another day if Trump wins and then starts doing some of the over-the-top things that he has said about democracy in this country and using the military to attack the enemy from within. You worried about Biden saying people are garbage? The other guy's saying, I'm going to attack your voters with the United States military. I consider them the enemy from within. No, those things are not at the same level. Okay. So, Brain Muleheads, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Logan Demir, thank, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Logan writes in, Trump is my dad. Men will always stay strong. Cenk, love you, bro. You're incredible. Thank you. I'm amused by that comment. All right, guys. Not only the smartest audience, but funniest audience. All right. So Monday at 6 o'clock Eastern, and we're going to talk about the populist revolt too. We need that populist revolt either way on Monday's show, and then election day noon all the way through from noon Eastern to past midnight. Amar Fati, thank you, brother. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being a member. Tigray, Texas Ranger, thank you for the super chat. Is he Trump going to pass 81 million votes? I don't know, but the thing is, she might even get even more because this is the most animated the American electorate have been in a long, long time. No matter what, guys, this is super exciting. Do not miss election day. Anything can happen, and probably will. So, all right, we'll see you guys Monday at 6 o'clock Eastern, and then all day election day. To everybody who joined and our Young Turks members, thank you. We love you guys. Thank you for letting us do this show.